Natalie. Naftali. So I just got this phone yesterday. I had to add some apps to it. I actually had to put YouTube on here just now. I'll be right back. keep forgetting everything. Okay, so now I gotta fucking Bluetooth my speaker again. I forgot all about that. Alright, I gotta connect everything to this fucking phone. Come on, Bluetooth. Find the fucking Bose speaker.
Local device not found. Ready to pair.
Oh, it will not. Oh, there it is.
Connected to icon.
Haha, got it now.
Saw our family get murdered. Now this won't even begin to become
Alright, they sound good already. That shit right there, building up. Hold up. Let's start it back from the top.
Purchase your tracks today.
Yo, this shit right hard as fuck. Alright, one more time from the top. From the tip. Oh, I went to the art supply store yesterday and got art supplies from Michael's. A whole bag of shit, yeah. A whole bag of shit. When I get my money, you know it's spent on them supplies so I can get in the studio and stay alive, because making this art is my life. I need to do it right, so I gotta have the colors in the tube just right. Yeah, a little brown and red, some blues and blacks, go straight to my head, cause I think I'm the best until I'm dead, and even after life, I still pass to Christ, because you ain't half as nice. Woo! Yeah, and every chance I get, I roll the dice, cause I take my chances and blow that ice, yeah, cause that road get trifed. But I'ma still travel it. That's what my name mean, Travis Prince. Yeah, and that's some deep shit. Touch the mic and I leave my fingerprints. I grip it so tight, man, the shit get a little bent. I smoke this weed, I get so high and get a little bent, yeah. I start talking my shit because I'm really aggravated. Then I start to vent like, man, fuck all these pussies, fuck all these rookies. I just want the nookie, did it all for the cookies, and now it's all crumbles. So I stay on my knees and stay humble. Never pray to your God, nigga. I never fumble, I never mumble. My words come clear, and I never ever had no fear, cause I don't fear death, I just love life, and I move it right. Ooh, I'm trying to grind all night, keep grinding all night till I get that bud. Nice bite sizes. Ooh, doo-doo. I grind all night, and I grind all night until I see that sunlight. Like, ooh, please don't waste the weed, cause we just proceed to get high in seats. Ooh, yo, this beat is nice. Yo, XL, what's up? I'm flowing so hard that I can't read the comments. That's my regards, and I beg your pardon. Yeah, you know we do this often. Up in the morning, me and D to one. Yeah. And we smoking weed with the sun, and that's the S-U-N, not the S-O-N, cause my S-O-N just lets me in, and woo, I know this shit, cause I wrote this shit. Wait, nah, ain't nothing really written. I spitting off the top to this instrumental. Seems so simple, and then I smile and show you my dimples. And I spit all that shit before I took my first hit. Now I'm getting elevated, man, I'm really about to rip. You can't touch this, man, it's too much. There's nothing to discuss it. This kid from the south is really getting disgusted. I mean sick with it, I mean twisted, just like my hair. Yeah, I had to mention it. I'm growing in inches, and that shit looks so, ooh, that them girls just go, ooh. And this my last bud, I'ma still smoke it up, cause I don't give a fuck. Gotta hit that dope boy to get a little more, like, woo, woo, woo. Yeah. And even early in the morning, I'm wide-eyed. You never catch me yawning. You can't sleep on that, nah. Deliver nothing but these facts. Man, I'm killing these racks while I'm stacking these racks. Paper on top of paper. The fuck them haters, yeah. And all them instigators, they get skeeved off, yeah, like masturbators. And yes, I'm the greatest, and we can sit down and debate this, but listen, you won't win in competition against him. That's that T-R-A-P. Look, son, just back up. You can't blaze me. Nah, nigga, I smack. Too much, let me stop. Three King, Alien, and the Gorilla. Oh, man. Bro, I'm down to my last, I just grind up my last butt. I need a pot of that shit. I just want one. I gotta go get something in a little while. I probably won't be here for a long time. Like right now, this is my main project. since this is a paid commission, it's wet as shit right now. I just did it yesterday, so this is just the underpainting. Me and the my client, Shaman 420, the motherfucking Shaman gave me that money, boy. Thank you so much, bro, for having me do this project for you. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, my man Shaman 420. So we talked about some different things yesterday, how we actually want the background to come out. And it's off to a pretty good start, you know what I'm saying? I was in here for a couple hours yesterday just to get this underpainting done, so I'm set this to the side, let it dry for a few days. And once it get dry, I'm hop back on it. Like I said, this is my main focal point right now. So, oh shit, that ain't got no paint on it. Sorry, I can't work on this. The last commission I did is finished. It's downstairs. I'm just waiting for UPS to open up. That's actually, like I said, I'm not going to be here for a long time. It's just probably just bullshit for a minute. I gotta drop that piece off the UPS. I gotta go to the grocery store, pick up a couple things, and I gotta run around and see if I can find me some buds. So I might be out the house for a couple hours. Shit. Oh, but I did get up, go to the gym this morning. Get that testosterone pumping. That testosterone. I thought that was Duke Ellison. Nah, this yo, Shaman 420, this is his son, yo. His son, this is band at band rehearsal, getting ready for a concert or something, a band concert. You know what I'm saying? Probably football game or something. But then that's Shaman 420, oldest. He said that's his oldest kid, yo. Well, he didn't say it was his oldest kid. He said this his oldest son. So he might have all boys, and this is his oldest son, or he might have daughters, and he has a daughter who's older than him. But what he told me was this is his oldest son, if I'm not mistaken. Not saying that this is his oldest child, but yeah, and it's a band picture. Does look like a young Duke Ellington. Boy, I see greatness in you right now. You look like your ancestors, boy. You look like your ancestors. I see greatness in you. You keep doing your thing with that music, man. Make that motherfucking instrument sing. Make it sing to him. I thought that was a young Duke Ellington. The boy has a look about him. He done been here before. You got an old soul, boy. You been here before. You done been here before. I put that lotion on in the morning. I can't twist and turn shit, man. All my knobs, everything just be slick, slippery, sliding. That's what it is, bro. I've been here for a while, like I said. For an hour or so. Oh damn, I just mentioned something about that piece and then still set it to the side. There's like 2 little spots on there. For some reason I ain't put no paint on that shit. Must have been moving too fast, Strap. You're not paying attention to what you're doing. Jason. Yes, she is. Alright guys, we doing big things over here. You know, hey Jason, go ahead and subscribe to my YouTube channel, man. We're doing big things. I'm trying to get 1,000 subscribers before the end of the year. We had 933 subscribers to the channel, y'all. Believe that. That's some crazy ass shit, yo. 933 people subscribe to this YouTube channel. Oh, you bunch of fucking nerds. You guys are the nerdiest. My God. There's almost 1,000 of you fucking nerds out there. What the hell? That's all you guys do is art and education? Fucking. Oh my God. So many nerds. Jason, you fucking smart ass nerd. You geek ass. That's the only reason you even in here. Some dude who sits down and watches a stream that says art and education, you're fucking geek, bro. What do you do? You watch anime? Huh? You watch anime? You build Gundam Wing models and shit? What? You play PlayStation? I bet you got a PlayStation, ain't it? I know you got a PlayStation. Fucking nerds. You probably got that VR shit, don't it? Old nerd ass. Yo, fucking old geek ass motherfucking VR playing ass nerd. Motherfucker sit down and watch somebody paint. Who does that? Huh? Who does? Really? No, really. Old Bob Ross watching ass. Who sits down and watches somebody paint and talk about smart shit? Nerds. That's who. That's who do stuff like that. Nerdy ass people. Nerds. They could have more friends, but people are stupid. I could have more friends, but yeah, people are stupid, man. You know? What the fuck is a friend? Huh? Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. I got supplies. Cha 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 cha. I got some cha 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 cha. Ooh 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 ooh. Got me a new paint palette. Oop. Oh shit. Palette paper pad. Block de papier paletas. Paletas. A block de papier paletas. I got 40 sheets, son. Yo, I got 40 sheets. What you got, son? Ooh, boy. You on the West Coast? I know you a super nerd. This motherfucker wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning watching this shit. Oh my God. Hey, don't tell your girlfriend. Babe, what are you watching? Some black dude just showing me his paint. You can't even say this shit out loud if someone asks you like, what are you watching, and explain that shit, yo. You sound like a fucking nerd. Yeah, this dude is showing me some paint he just bought. Oh, damn. Oh, damn, that's too good. That's too rich, man. That's too rich. It's 5 a.m. What you was doing this morning? Watching this dude paint. You was what? Nah, it's a YouTuber. You never mind. You don't understand. It got some of that Venetian red. Ooh, no, I love it. This shit is good for black people's skin. You see, it say red, but it make a good brown. And you can actually, even in the light, you can kind of see like the highlights on my shoulder. That shit has a really reddish tint to it. You know what I'm saying? That melanin, that shit refract all kind of wavelengths of color, you know what I'm saying? And so on not fair skinned people, but mid-tone people like this red, this Venetian red comes in really handy for people like my complexion and doing highlights on darker skinned people. So I had to get another tube of that. Got a tube of burnt sienna. This gambling, yo, these shits are like $20-something a fucking tube. I was gonna get some red, yo. One of their tubes of red, this same size right here, yo, $36. $36 for a tube of paint this size. 36 bucks. And so people are like, why you charge so much? Bitch, you think my supplies is free? Huh? You know how much a 48 by 36-inch canvas costs? Do you even know how much the canvas costs? Do you know how much a tube of paint? Come on, man. That's why I don't do nothing for less than 400 bucks. I gotta get at least. That's like, and that's just on some basic math shit. You know what I'm saying? That ain't even counting like the quality and precision and the fucking just the beauty that I put into each one of my pieces just from the simple fact of cost alone. You know what I'm saying? Just supplies and everything and time is just like, I cannot sell any piece of art that I create for less than 400 bucks. You gotta give me at least that much. Some radiant turquoise. Ooh, now this comes in handy when lightening up your blues. And if you have a dark blue that has a light blue highlight to it, some people use a blue and then they'll add white to the same blue to make that blue lighter. Doesn't really look good all the time. So this turquoise actually is really excellent for painting like skies or blue jeans and denim and anything like that, where you're going to transition from a dark shade really rapidly into a lighter blue. I don't like to use white to do that, so you just find like really paler blues to help accent that, and this radiant turquoise is awesome for doing that. And then I got some acrylic paints. So my tube is bent. This is a defect, factory defect, man. I should have asked for a discount. Oh yeah, I just fucked this whole tube up too. Damn, this is an old defect ass tube. I tried to squeeze it to poke that shit out and then wound up busting it open from the bottom. Brand new tube of paint. Or it was brand new. But this tube looked like it was beat the hell up anyway. Like, I should have looked at it better before I bought this one. It's salvageable though. All paint is salvageable. So I kind of open up, like I pop the end of it open, squeezing it so hard because I don't know my own strength. I'm gonna just fold it over again and just make another notch in it, and now boom, just like normal. That's all these tubes are. They're just crimped together. It's supposed to have a little bit of glue down there or something. It just seems like, I don't know. I barely even squeezed this thing. It just, like, really? That shit was that weak? Like, it wanted to open. I'm gonna fold it over one more time. And then, for added measure, all you gotta do is get you some, well, this ain't my crimpers, but this will work. Just get something and squeeze it back down. Like so. And that should hold pretty good. Alright. Damn. So yeah, I got 3 tubes of acrylic paint. Winsor Newton, the Galleria. Got some burnt sienna, some burnt umber, and some ivory black. So this right here alone is like I think it was like 60 something bucks, 70 something bucks. That shit is wild. Yo, this studio is messy as shit right now. I got paint tubes everywhere. I got these from yesterday. Should have brought me a water up here. I'm thirsty as shit now. Fucking ashtray, my incense box, which was actually this was a paint box, like a set of paints came in here. I seen that, bro. Shout out, what's up? Yeah, that's what's up, man. I like when people get excited over art. But yeah, like I had a set of paints that came in this box. It was just like rows of paint, so I took it and I just drill a diagonal hole in the side of it. And so now you can take an inset. There's a hole right there. Wham. Now you got a little incense holder. And it can hold an ass of ashes and sticks, as you can see. You gotta learn how to mod shit. Yeah, matter of fact, there's like one spot that I gotta get on that paint. It's really low. Oh, that's messed up. I threw that paper away too. And I just dumped ashes on it. Oh. This is paper. I fucking threw that shit in the trash. There's like 2 spots on there. there. I'm trying to work too fast. I'm trying to go too fast. Fucking up shit. I'm saying, hate when I do that. Yo, good morning, good morning.
Purchase your tracks today. Purchase your tracks today.
Yeah, I paint them masterpieces, and them shits be black as me. Yeah, I paint them masterpieces, and them shits be black as me. Yeah, I paint them masterpieces, listen to my masterpieces. Yeah, I paint them masterpieces, and them shits be black as me. Yeah, them shits be black as me. Yeah, them shits be black as me. All the portraits, all the people, yeah, they skin look just like me. Yeah, I paint them portraits, yeah, the shit be black as me. Yeah. How much money do I have tied up in paintings I haven't sold as far as just canvases and paints? Bruh, in the last, I don't know, I probably spend upwards of $1,500, $2,000 a year just on supplies. It may not seem like a lot, but like I say, I try to do for myself at least a painting a month. So it takes me Takes me like $2,000 just to make 12 paintings. You know, and that's like on a low end. And I used to spend a lot more because there was a more expensive canvas I was buying, but these canvases I buy now, the quality is just as good, but they're not as expensive. And I used to frame a lot of my stuff too. Like I used to be out there buying hella fucking frames and shit, and like that's for one, that's the main reason I stopped framing, because the shit costs so much to frame your shit, and then you got to add the price of the frame onto the price of the painting, and that jumps the price, and people don't want to pay that shit. You know what I'm saying? So I stopped framing to save myself money and to make my art more affordable. You know what I'm saying? But hell, every couple weeks I'm spending 50, 60, 70 bucks on supplies, trying to catch canvases on sale when I can. And like my bigger projects, I always try to stay with at least some 36 by 48 inch canvases. And if them shits ain't on sale, man, them shits 80 bucks a pop, 90 bucks a pop. You know what I'm saying, for the good shits. And shit, but that's still like that shit motherfucking quintuples in price though. You know, so the $2,000 the $2,000 that I put in a year, that shit would translate into fucking $40,000 worth of art. It's not sold, but it's there. Yeah, it does. You know what I'm saying? But that's another reason I use oils, because they last longer. You know what I'm saying? And by using mediums, you can stretch your oil paints. But even doing that, there are certain colors. Like I say, when I go to re-up on just one tube of paint, I'm kicking out $27, $36 for a fucking tube of paint. This goddamn big. Then I gotta go buy 2 fucking canvases. You know what I'm saying? And even my commission canvases aren't that large, but this is my last one I have. This is my last 18 by 24 inch canvas. So now I gotta go out and like restock on them shits, get like 15 or 20 get 15 or 20 of these right here just to have on standby. I really, when I started that shit, I was like, oh shit, this is my last one. I really did not realize that. Like, wait a minute, I just did one before this one, and that shit still ain't dawned on me. Like when I opened that canvas up, I didn't looking like, oh, I only have one more left. I was like, shit. But then I got the paints and stuff yesterday. I'm gonna try to wait, and maybe most of the time, like the first and second week of the month, they be having canvas sales, and so they had a sale on brushes and paints. It was weird. Buy 2 get 1 free. But I'm waiting on a fucking 50% off canvas sale or something, because I need to get, like I say, I need to get like 15 at one time. I can't afford that shit just straight out right now. Like now that no regular price is going in there and buying 15 of them motherfuckers, I gotta wait till that shit half price. As soon as I see that 50% off, all right, now I'll get 15. I'm not spending 50, buying 15 at the full price. God damn, that shit be hurting.
Purchase your tracks today.
Nah, it's just time consuming, and I think I may actually start doing that myself. I have a lot of free time right now, so I mean, I have wood. I have wood in my basement. I have a table saw, a hand saw. I got an air compressor, a nail gun. I got a fucking industrial stapler. It's like I have everything I need to do it. I got my T-squares. I got everything I need. All my tape measures and shit. I just gotta do it. All I need to do really is go out and buy a roll of canvas. But I really haven't stretched my own canvases yet, because I don't know. It seems like kind of actually a waste of time doing it myself when you can get the ones prefab for a little bit more. Yeah, but at the same time, like, most people who stretch their own canvases is because they're doing a piece that's so large, or a piece that's an irregular size that you're not going to find on a shelf anywhere. There's like basically standard size canvases that most um, art and craft stores will carry. There's, like I say, just basic sizes, and it's hard to deviate from those a lot, no matter where you try to buy a canvas from. So if you want a canvas this 4 feet by 2 feet, or 4 feet by 1 foot, like a long ass, it'll be hard to find those. So more often than not, people would prefer to stretch their own canvases that way, especially if you want something really large, like a 9 foot by 6 foot canvas. In order to buy that out of a store, first you would have to be able to afford it, and then you would have to have it, shipped to wherever you're at. Because I don't know a lot of vehicles that can carry a fucking, a 9 by 6 foot canvas. But if you had a studio space and you had a woodworking area, you can just build your canvas on site. And build your stretchers on site and just stretch your canvas right there. And it is a lot easier, but uh yeah, that's it. Just the time. And now, like I said, I do have a little bit more free time, and I was talking to another a really good artist who I really respect his stuff, and he was on Instagram, and he did a demonstration of him building a canvas. And he sits down, he shows all his wood, his saw, he cuts it, he miters it, he angles it, he nails them together. He lays out his canvas. He shows you the corners, how he folds the canvas at the corners before he staples it, and he walks you through the whole process of how he does it, and it looks nice. And so I talked to him about that and asked him exactly what kind of canvas does he prefer to use, and asked him a few other questions. And so yeah, I think I may stop being lazy and just go ahead and try to stretch a couple myself. I've never done it before. I just want to shit, you know what I'm saying? You get some 45-degree angles. All you got to do is make sure your frame is square. Basically, you make sure it's square. Put some braces in it so that it doesn't flex. And when you go to staple your canvas, just make sure it's taut, and you gotta pull that shit tight and just tighten the hell out of it. Make sure it's really taut, and it seems like a simple process. So we'll see. Let me go grab a water. Yeah, it's actually two holes. There's two pretty good holes right in this fucking canvas, yo. And I just pass it up with some paint. But that's a hole and that's a hole. You can see it. You can see him right there. You see it? That's a fucking hole right there. And that's the other hole. But that shit poked right. It's right through the fucking canvas, all the way through. Yep. Right the fuck there. Two of them. That shit, that easel right there. It was kind of leaning like that. The edges of this fucking easel is sharp as shit, bro. That shit, those edges are sharp. And I don't know what the fuck happened. I did something, and this bitch just fell. It fell back, just like boom, and fell back on that easel, and poked two holes right in that shit, yo, from the back side. I know it might have been from the front. So I don't know how I did that shit, man. I was so damn mad at myself, trying to do too much and trying to move this shit around some kind of way. All I remember is this shit fell, and it fell on that black easel, right on the goddamn corner of that thing. I got another paint, and I had to pass that up. I dropped it down a tube of paint, cause even the edges of this paint, man, that shit kind of, it ain't sharp, but that shit hard. You know what I'm saying? I was doing something, and I had a canvas sitting underneath this shelf right here, and a fucking tube of paint fell and hit that shit like bang, like perfect, like ding, and poked a hole right in that shit. I'm like, god damn, what the fuck am I doing? And that shit was done, complete. Just like this. This shit was all the way done, and then I drop it on the damn easel and poke a hole in it. Bruh. I've been so damn mad, boy. What, use this painting as a giveaway? I don't know about that. I gotta do something for 1,000 subscribers though. I gotta come up with a challenge. I haven't done a art challenge in a while. I haven't drawn anybody's picture in a minute. I need to come up with a new challenge. But yeah, if we hit that 1,000 subscribers, I may give away a painting. Not this painting, but a painting. It might be a painting of me. So you can just have me hanging in your house, chilling with you all the time. That won't be creepy or odd at all. word, man. Yeah. You know I got that herb, man. Yeah. And it's packed in a bowl, and that bowl is orange, and it's in my fucking hand, bro. Yeah. Now let me find my flame, my lighter, my torch, yeah, so we can spark this up, so I can bring up some more thoughts with some relevant emotion, yeah, to make it hard and go in for the city, put on for my people. Let me know if you with me, cause if you got a bubbler, you know I'ma hit it. Time to smoke one with my man, another back creation. Yeah, I hope you understand. We some potheads and we loving this art. Yeah, and we do it from the heart. Yeah, but I can't find my lighter. Smoking this weed is one desire that I can't fulfill right now. Damn, that's that one desire that I can't. Where the fuck's my lighter? Damn it, man.
Dos Equis, sweet.
Dos Equis. Look. We don't need those commercials, bro. Look. No commercials, bro. Ooh. This room ain't but so fucking big. Where you at, lighter? Where I set my water. How I set the water bottle on top of the lighter? You gotta be special as hell to do that. Cause you can see through water. Put some gloves on, man. They be some stuff and they done poke this shit out your ass. I don't even like digging in this drawer without my proper PPE, my personal protection equipment. But come on, you gotta move shit out the way so you can find the little stuff at the bottom. This is a real treasure hunt. Oh, you see them? I found some. These little eye rings. Oh yeah. Oh, damn it. Don't get away. Ah, he's trying to run. Come here. Shit, I lost that one. Come on. Alright. We got one. What is that? That looks like, I don't know, but I don't know what that is. Alright, there's another one. Grab him. Grab him. I got it. Oh, this motherfucker's. Oh shit, he's a tough one. Come on. Oh my god. Alright, look, I got 2 of them. That's all we need. Alright. Buy some of this stuff. And one of these. One of my old dreads. I tell y'all, man, y'all never know what y'all gonna find in here, man. What this? Some car stereo, son. You gotta weigh the protection in that drawer, boy. You will get stuck. You will get poked. You will get cut. I ain't even lying to you. That draw fuck you up, man. Yeah, I listen to the same beats over and over. So what? So what? Even little shit like this right here. That shit'll poke the shit out you, boy. Really? Man, hey, yo, being an artist is dangerous, man. This is dangerous work, son. You think this shit just all soft brushes and mushy ass paint? Man, you can get fucked up painting, man. You get cut, man. You get tetanus from this shit. Anything can happen, man. This shit be dangerous out here, son. I'm telling you, man. Yo, when you be in the art studio, man, be wild, boy. It be wild. It's like the Wild West, man. I tell you, you got wear gloves, and then don't like when you gotta varnish your paintings, man. You gotta wear a respirator, cause the fumes, man. Them fumes will fuck you up, man. You know what I'm saying? Give you all kind of lung problems, respiratory problems, and shit. Shit is rough. I be dealing with chemicals, you know what I'm saying? You think oil painting is just like some food coloring or something, man? These is harsh chemicals, you know what I'm saying? For real, cancer causing stuff. It sound dramatic. I make it sound dramatic, right? I'm just saying. Word up though. I got a painting going out today, bruh. Today, I just I wanted to ship it out yesterday. I'm calling UPS. Motherfucker won't answer the phone. I'm like, oh, it's a holiday. Fuck your holidays, man. Fuck that shit, man. I need to get this shit out of here. Man, these guitar strings, man, you get the nylons, the horse, it don't even matter, man. When you try to string it up, bro, you gotta be careful. You gotta wear gloves. Them shits will poke you. I'm telling you, bro. People think being an artist, a musician, like this shit just some easy shit. Like you just sit in the studio just singing all day. Nah, man. The calluses from the guitar, bro. You know how when you have to tune that shit, man, your wrist, all kind of shit, man. It's rough. It's rough out here, bro. I'm trying to tell them, man. They think I just be, I just be in here like just playing and shit, man. You know I use thinner to clean my brushes. That's turpentine. It's chemicals. You know what I'm saying? I'm working with harsh chemicals, deadly if ingested, shit like that. You know what I'm saying? Stuff like that. That's real, man. Real talk. That shit be hurting, man. Shit, them guitar strings, shit hurt, bro. I'm telling you. They don't understand the struggle, bro. I be trying to tell them, man, because, they work regular jobs and shit. Because they're a paramedic and somebody got shot. You know what I'm saying? They had to stop the bleeding to save somebody's life. I understand that shit hard, and it takes a lot of training. You know what I'm saying? Nerves of steel and whatnot. You know, but hey, being a painter, you know what I'm saying? This shit ain't all peaches and cream all the time, man. You know what I'm saying? I just don't be just up here like smoking and freestyling all day. Like, come on, really? You know what I'm saying? I gotta put gloves on. I got tools. You see, look, I'm working with tools, man. Hand tools, not even power tools. I got power tools too. You know what I'm saying? I gotta drill stuff out sometimes. Huh? You gonna let your kid you gonna let a 3-year-old play with a drill? No, why? Because it's a dangerous piece of equipment. You know what I'm saying? It's a power tool. I be working with all kind of shit like that. It takes training to properly use a pair of wire snips without hurting yourself. How do I know this? Because previously I have hurt myself using wire snips until I was properly trained. You know? I thought you could just like clip your toenails with it and shit. No, but see, it turns out that you can't. You should not do stuff like that. Well, until somebody trains you, like, how do you know? Is this getting old? I think it's getting old. It's all good though. On to the next bit. We'll come up with something in a minute.
Purchase your tracks today.
Yeah. One, two, get 'em. Yeah.
Purchase your tracks today. Purchase your tracks today.
Now at Menards, save big money on your next project with 11%
No,
off everything.
no,
With retaining wall
no,
blocks,
commercial.
$177 each.
I have to ask you that Apple has been suggested by some analysts who are pretty smart that they should get into the electric vehicle business and maybe do so by buying Tesla. You and Charlie Munger, your vice chair, did this years ago with BYD, buying an electric vehicle and electric battery company. Would you suggest that Apple get into, or would you support it if they bought Tesla?
Well, I would support what Tim Cook does, but I think it would be a very poor idea to get into the auto business. It's not an easy business. And incidentally, the auto business is different than some business. If you're a premier with Google on search, or you're a premier, with movies on Netflix, or whatever it be, there's a huge first mover and size and network effect and all that working for you. You can win in autos one year and you lose the next. I mean, you've got a dozen big companies out there with resources. They're going to keep coming. They copy what you do. People move from one year to another. You don't worry about the fact that your whole life is on the iPhone, as opposed to, you don't want your whole life to be in one car or something. It does not give you a permanent advantage.
The always colorful Elon Musk, the CEO, got into a little trouble recently. If one of your CEOs did an Elon Musk type of tweet, I'm going private. Of course, they wouldn't go private, but they revealed something they shouldn't have. How would you have handled that?
Well, I think what you do, if you misspeak, and I can do it with you or somebody. I mean, if you misspeak, you correct it immediately. And if you've got a stock that's trading like crazy, you come on 3 minutes later and don't say I misspoke when I said lending secured. I meant to say I really think I can get funding. I mean, or something.
Bitcoin. You and Charlie have told Fox Business and made news calling it rat poison squared. Has anything changed to make you take a second look?
It will come to a bad ending.
Still. Well, you're not coming to a bad ending, certainly. You're 88 years old. We just got word from Berkshire that you're not going to be hosting the MBA programs anymore. We had been able...
So I don't know who the lady is. I don't know who this anchor is interviewing, but this is fucking Warren Buffett she's talking to. All right, and Warren Buffett is one of the richest man in the world. He's that 1% inside the 1%.
Well, you're not coming to a bad ending, certainly. You're 88 years old. We just got word from Berkshire that you're not going to be hosting the MBA programs anymore. We had been able to see what we call Buffett University, where you talked to the students and took pictures with them. I mean, you were dancing with some of them. You're doing wrestling poses and Charlie's Angels. Are you feeling okay? Everything?
I feel great, and my doctor said I'm in way better shape even than I was a few years ago. I tap dance to word stuff, but the only drawback, and I did the students for 60-some years in different forms, and I loved it last year, but it does require committing yourself 6 or 7 or 8 months in future. I never would want to not show up or something of the sort. So I decided to pack it in on that.
My dad used to say at 88 to his patients, the mind gets soft, but the arteries get hard, so it kind of balances itself out.
Well, whatever it is, it's good. And 8 is lucky in China. So I got 2 8s going for me in a year that ends in an 8. So I feel great.
Happy.
We love getting 11% off everything at Menards, especially when we're taking on big projects like our
birthday, Warren.
Thank you. Thank you.
You ever thought, 88, you ever thought about lying about your age?
No, that never occurred to me, actually. I might say I'm older, actually. Get all these, people do things for you.
Oh, I would imagine.
Yeah.
Well,
and they have low expectations, too.
This Glide luncheon is 19 years old. The first one went for $2,500. Now we're at $3.3 million. What happened? The Fed says there's no inflation that's too runaway, but what happened between then and now?
I hope we're not at the CPI. It'll distort things. Well, what happened? One important thing happened was eBay. Our audience was limited to a group who were getting together in San Francisco for a dinner to start with, and then in effect, eBay made that dinner table worldwide, so that was dramatic.
Isn't it amazing that eBay, now that I think of it, the access and the reach that it's given people for things like this, to sell things?
Absolutely. The world has changed so much, and when they say productivity is only going up a little bit, I'm so much more productive now than 20 years ago, not due to any internal factors, but the facts I can learn in seconds that took me hours to dig around in the library, or just in writing my annual report, it saves me hours and hours and hours and hours.
Would you have ever thought, thinking that eBay has done so well for this charity, to buy eBay stock?
I probably should have. I've missed a lot of them, Liz. My being anchored in the 20th century has not helped Berkshire.
Well, I'll tell you, so as we look at this, the money, the $3.3 million, will go to homeless services for the Glide Foundation. The economy's done so well. People say it is strong, it's getting stronger. So by that logic, we would expect to see a lesser demand for homeless services. Are you seeing that at all?
Oh, no. And Glide takes the people that the world's forgotten about and given up on. Maybe they've given up on themselves. And Cecil Williams, for more than 50 years in running Glide, has never given up on anyone.
There are millions of jobs out there, though. However, you could also argue, and that's terrific, but you could argue that the quality of the jobs isn't necessarily incredible, well-paying, and some don't come with benefits, and the wage growth is stagnant. Why is that right now?
But Liz, you're right about what you say. The problem is not the 25-year-old is retrainable if something happens to their job, but take carpet installation. Nobody thinks about it. Everybody will tell you, if I talk to our carpet people, everywhere in the country they need carpet installers. They need truck drivers, and they need people in jobs that pay $60,000 or $70,000 a year. We're paying. We've got a school in Denver that our home builder contributes to just to teach.
I've been creating and crafting with wood since I was a child.
Construction skills, so matching everybody up. But some people do not get the lucky straws in life, and we live in this incredibly prosperous society, and like any rich family, we should take care of everybody.
There are fewer publicly traded companies over the past decade. We've seen thousands either be acquired or go out of business, and some would say that that means fewer employers to choose from, but also you and Jamie Dimon of J.P. Morgan have come out and said, maybe part of the problem is forcing companies to give quarterly guidance, and that tends to destabilize things. And the Business Roundtable has said they would rather see biannual, twice a year. And then on top of it, President Trump has said he'd like to see that investigated. What would that change?
So one of the questions, I started out investing, well, really when I was 12, but when I started visiting companies and everything when I was in my 20s, one of the questions I used to ask then, and I still ask it now, if I'm looking at your company and you're running a public stock, I say, what would you do differently if you owned it all yourself and you couldn't sell it and your family had to keep it for 50 years? And sometimes the list is quite long and sometimes it's quite short. At Berkshire, I try to be able to run it so I can say the answer is nothing. But I believe in reporting frequently to your owners. I do not believe in giving guidance, because I have seen guidance lead people who I would love to have marry my daughter or live next to me play games with numbers. And once the CEO has committed to earning $1.07 per share, people beneath him are going to do things. I mean, it sends a message to the whole organization that the most important thing to do is earn $1.07 per share this quarter.
Hit that target.
And people cheat. I mean, they do things that are legal, but some of them do things that actually they couldn't put on the front page of the paper, and I've seen it. I've seen it many times.
That's called short-termism. They're thinking in the short term.
Well, their investor relations department tells them you should give guidance. The analysts want to get guidance, and I don't know what Berkshire's going to earn next quarter. I know how our businesses are doing, but a hurricane next month could change our insurance figures. I care about building the businesses, but incidentally, I think most CEOs do, but I do think they get pushed. And once they start giving it, then they feel they can't quit doing it. And then they decide, I better give a low number so I can always beat it. And then they decide, we aren't going to make it this time, so maybe we'll offer a special deal to Walmart or something to move some extra goods that would normally move the next quarter. It's poison.
There is a short-term, possibly longer-term situation with the trade wars and the tariff wars. You have a broad span of more than 80 companies in different industries. What is the number one effect that you have seen? Well,
I would say in terms of dollars, it might be in steel, but but it affects our companies in different ways. I mean, the newspaper business, as you know, is struggling, and there's a newsprint. I think they decide just within a few days whether it's permanent or not. But
a tariff on newsprint.
A tariff on newsprint, yeah, and it was a story about it. It was instigated by a domestic producer, but we need.
Having insurance is something everyone needs, but having USAA, that's a privilege.
Canadian newsprint to keep putting out papers, and it will be a significant price increase. But that's happening in various ways in various spots. And
I talked to the Precision Steel guys. You own that company, and they told me already they were seeing, this was back in May at the Berkshire meeting, that they were seeing prices spike and that they would eventually have to pass that cost on to customers.
Not eventually, but quickly.
Has that happened in some of your businesses?
Well, it's happened in Precision, as you mentioned, and that's a smaller, but it's happened in Mytek, which buys a lot of steel. I mean, it buys everything. The can Benjamin Moore, that price of that can, I think it's gone up 20 or 30% in the last year.
Do you think, though, at the end of the day, President Trump's tough rhetoric on all of this may ultimately end up in a fair trade deal here and there for the United States?
Well, also, I mean, he's negotiating in his own way, but we do not want to have trade wars over time, and on the other hand, you don't want to give away the store. So it's a question of how you do negotiate, but trade benefits the world. It benefits the United States, benefits China, benefits everybody, Canada, you name it. We will not have as productive a world for your children and grandchildren if it's a world of lots of trade barriers. There's no question about that. How to get that so it benefits the most people is different. There's different ways of trying to get at that, but the goal has to be something where goods flow from around the world seamlessly. And incidentally, we have 12% of our GDP or close to it in exports now. In 1970, it was only 5%. So we sell a lot of things the rest of the world wants.
The president's particularly going after China. It is not news that China steals intellectual property. Has Berkshire or any of its companies ever discovered that China or any other country was stealing intellectual property?
Not that I know of. We've done more and more business in China. No, I mean, China's a great market as far as.
So not Dairy Queen, Blizzard technology?
No, we've got a lot of Dairy Queens in China. They're just treat only, but I think there's 500 or so Dairy Queens. Something like that in China.
We always say our tagline is, he builds, I decorate. Everything that is in our home, Ryan has built.
Our goal is to always be...
Yo, just an 11-minute segment, they fucking put like 8 commercials in that shit. They would not let you hear that good information this motherfucker rich ass dude trying to tell you in one concise, segment. That shit was fucking me up just now. Like, what the fuck, man? Just let him talk. It's Warren Buffett. You know what I'm saying? This motherfucker been rich since rich was a thing. You got that wealth now. That motherfucker wealthy. 18 billion or 30 billion or some crazy stupid ass shit like that. 100 billion. What do you do with all this money? I mean, like, what do you do once you get $1 billion? What do you do with that money? You can't do but so much with that shit. You gonna buy a gazillion pillowcases and 300,000 Lamborghinis? Like, what the fuck?
We have a lot to talk about, and we only have you for an hour, so I want to get to it. I think the main thing that I want to get out of you tonight is you seem to play this game differently than everybody else. There's in the history of Silicon Valley, there's only one guy who's created 3 companies that were worth more than $1 billion each, and that's Jim Clark. And he did it with Silicon Graphics, legitimate company, Netscape, legitimate company, and Healthion, which never would have been $1 billion company without a bubble. True. But all sort of in the same industry. Yeah. You've done it, if we count SpaceX, even though it hasn't exited, but it has a multi-billion-dollar contract, so I think we can count it as more than $1 billion, right?
Yeah, SpaceX is a private. Yeah, I mean it's
safe to
private
say.
market valuation, sort of a couple $2 billion.
Right.
Yeah.
So you're the only other guy who's done it, and you've done it with payments, probably one of the hardest industries to disrupt on the web, cars, and going to space.
Right. Yeah.
So what do you do differently?
Later this year, by the way.
So, oh yeah, but do you count as a co-founder for that one?
No, actually, they offered to have me be listed as a co-founder, but I thought that although I'd suggested the initial idea, I did not put enough sort of sweat equity into it to be considered such.
You should have been, because you could have been the first guy with 4.
I think there's sort of a certain threshold of idea contribution and initial effort that's required for that. That's sort of, I mean, it's sort of subjective, but I don't think I did enough.
Right.
They did offer it to me, but I said no.
So is part of the reason you've done this that you are sort of crazy? Are you lucky?
I've been thinking about that lately, and I sort of wonder, I think I probably am a bit crazy, but maybe that's sort of a healthy sign, because at the point at which you conclude you're not crazy at all, then you probably are.
So the fact that you realize
it's sort of a recursive thing, yeah.
There's one story that I've heard about you.
Do I seem crazy?
Yes.
Yeah, probably.
They wouldn't let you get back to the community, man. You know that shit. They is that. Hey, you remember we was already talking about that LeBron James shit, motherfucker? He opened a school. Okay, that's awesome. Give him back, but look what he associated with. That shit is weird. How come Oprah don't do it? How come Michael Jackson ain't never do it? How come Michael Jordan? Wait, Jay-Z and Beyonce it. You know what I'm saying? The money there. They ain't got motherfucking Warren Buffett money. They got a little bit of it though. You know what I'm saying? It's something to it. That boule shit, and then too, man, like, oh man, I already heard about that spirit, so I don't know. It's weird, like how I listen to everything, and then once again, you have just listened to a lot of different shit, and then things just started connecting. So I was listening to this art documentary about all these different artists on different things, man, and they talked about this one lady, Maria something, I think, and she did this performance art, and she did this piece where she stood, like, I think she was naked or semi-naked, and there was all these objects around on the table, like a rose, a ball, a razor, a knife, a gun. It was like all different kind of shit, makeup, all kind of shit. And it said, and she never said anything, but it was like a note that said, I'm gonna stand here for an hour or whatever amount of time. I'm just gonna stand here, and you can do whatever you want to me, and there will be no consequences placed on you. Anything that happens will be solely my fault or whatever. It's like, it was weird as shit, yo. And I thought this shit was fucking actually very, very interesting and compelling, for a woman to get up there and just subject herself to a room full of random people, not knowing what the fuck these people are going to do to her. You know what I'm saying? There was a fucking loaded gun on the table, and it said, do whatever you want to do. You know what I'm saying? And she wasn't fucking fighting, and she wound up like motherfuckers like choking her, cutting her with the razor blade, literally drawing blood and shit. It was weird as shit, yo. And then later on, I would start watching some other shit about some shit called spirit cooking. And like some spirit cooking party, and I think it was like Lady Gaga appeared at some spirit cooking party that was hosted by this lady at this lady's private house, and the Clintons have been there. And come to find out, this lady who's hosting this spirit cooking party is this same artist who did that performance piece where she just let people violate her, and it was the same person. I'm like, what the fuck? And then I was listening to some other shit one time, and then you see Jay-Z and this lady hanging out together, like, and he's rapping a song and she's there, and Jay-Z and her are like kind of dancing together. It's like, you fuck with these people? Whoa. That shit is crazy. It's weird, like, the connections, bro. And I don't think like some Illuminati shit, but there is some there is definitely a hierarchy and a structure to having wealth. You once you go beyond rich, now there's rules. You know what I'm saying? Like when you have wealth, now you're playing by a different rule book. Because most of the time you only gain wealth with permission. Somebody has to allow you to obtain wealth. Because the wealthy have been in charge for so long, they don't want too many other people to become wealthy and take their wealth away from them or threaten their wealth in such a way they can't pass it down through their lineage. So now the wealthy people watch anybody else who's trying to become wealthy. And so once you make it to that mark, like now you're in this whole different fucking world of wealthy people. And everybody's fucking watching you. And one false move, now then you can lose your wealth. Or your life. Yeah, there's a lot of different kind of cults, man. That's what I'm saying, like, yo, this canvas is warped to fucking shit and back. Why didn't I ever notice this? Oh my damn. But yeah, it's like I don't know, man. Like I said, with all that money all these people have, something should be different. Slightly. Noticeably different, but it's not. And all of a sudden, like, they allow LeBron James to open up a school? Really? Question all that shit. Come on. You mother... You shut up. Really though. Bruh, some motherfuckers that never let me have it. They already know better. I done tried to join the Masons twice and got rejected. And then a couple years ago, somebody sent me an invitation to the Masons. I turned that shit down. I tried to get in twice and y'all turned me down. And now you sending me an invite? Nah, never mind. Not this time. You had your chance. You had your chance to initiate me. How come I can't get this fucking screw out? My God, I'm screwing it out and it's still going in. Yeah, they won't let your boy in. Mm. until 2000. That was the time I got into it. All right, well, a little bit before, like 98, 99, my homeboys started teaching me about that shit, yo. Why won't you fucking, oh, God damn it. Oh my God. Yo, my homie was, fucking shit, dude. In the late 90s, like, he was on that shit before, but I ain't really pay that shit no attention, man. But, like, when you go back and listen to, like, the old Wu-Tang, like, Wu-Tang was dropping that shit. Yo, it's like, it was like, what the fuck? You just go back and listen to Wu-Tang old albums and shit, man. That Liquid Swords, 36 Chambers. And they dropped them jewels in that shit, man. My homeboy was up on that shit. He had a couple of books and shit talking about the Masons and whatnot. And then that's when I moved to Philly. And then another one of my homies, he was pretty smart with that shit. Like, that was like 99, 2000. And he was the one who told me, like, you know, where the Declaration of Independence was signed was at the Masonic Lodge in Philly. He was like, yo, the Masons been running this country, you know what I'm saying? He was like, what do you call himself? The 5%ers? He was one of them cats. That was the first one, the real one I ran into like that, a 5%er. And he had a lot of goddamn knowledge, yo. And then, it was crazy, yo, because him too, like, all his people been up on that shit. And so, his girlfriend, like, we was in Philly, but his girlfriend brother, this dude live in New York. And he came through one weekend and he had this book. And he left this book with his sister and she read it, and she gave it to her boyfriend, he read it. That was my homie, he gave it to me and I read it. It was some David Icke shit. I still remember that book, The Biggest Secret. Y'all start reading that David Icke shit, yo. Like, he sound kind of crazy now, but even, I mean, that shit was sounding crazy back then. But still, it was like he was opening me up to, like, some other shit, and I wasn't even never really thinking about, like, government conspiracies and shit like that. And talking about different motherfucking secret organizations and the occult. And then he started talking about, like, different dimensions. And, yo, that book was crazy as fuck, yo. But after that shit, I just always been trying to figure out more and more and more shit. And then then 9/11 happened. Oh, my God. Then I figured out how to use YouTube. Oh, my God. Yeah, but, and then that's crazy too, because one of my other homeboys, he says his dad joined the Shriners or some shit like that. Was it the Shriners? It was some kind of hall, some other kind of hall. It wasn't the Masons, but he said he had this fucking book, yo, that they gave his dad, and he only saw the book like twice. And then the second time he ever saw it, he said for some reason his dad fucking went to bed and left the book sitting on the coffee table in the living room by accident. But here's like, the first half of the book is written in English, and the second half of the book is like some kind of code or some shit. It's like it ain't no real like a language or some shit. I was like, numbers. He's like, nah, it's letters and symbols and shit, but he's like, it's weird. It's like, it's not German or Russian, or it's like it's some kind of cold looking shit that he couldn't understand that shit, yo. And my homeboy is smart as hell. He was a smart motherfucker, yo. Still is a smart motherfucker. He was like, I don't know what the fuck that shit is. I was like, damn. I said, I done read some of the history on the Masons, man. Them motherfuckers really think they come from the fucking pharaohs. They really, really, really do believe they possess the knowledge of the pharaohs and shit. That they are the lineage, the bloodline lineage, which is a crock of shit. All right, now I need to put a piece right there. So, hanging up the newer stuff in here. That was a recent painting. This one is a very recent painting. That's a new one. Can't wait till this one is done. I'm gonna have all new art bumping up in here soon. So I took something down right there. That's gonna be at the gallery. I gotta find something to put in that spot right there. Right out of space. My damn. Jack, you paint too much. Trying to think, what can I hang right there? I don't know. I'll figure something out in a little while.
Always said that about you.
Okay.
Here's the story that made me think you were crazy.
Okay.
And you can tell me if
Does this involve the New York Times?
No. Elon got me in so much trouble several years ago, and he called someone a douchebag and a liar, and I started laughing and never lived
actually,
it
to
down.
be precise, douchebag and an idiot.
We actually said a liar. We cut out the liar.
Oh, did I? Really?
Yeah, because we thought it would be libelous. That part we cut.
Okay, yeah. Well, I think that may. Well, I guess that's probably true too, but I think it's more the first two. Yeah.
More the first two.
Yeah.
So, this is the story that made me think you were crazy.
Yeah.
I heard right after you sold PayPal, before the other two companies, you went and bought a McLaren S1 because
F1, yes.
F1.
Right.
Sorry, that's the same part. So,
right.
Partially because you were going to race cars with Jim Clark and Larry Ellison.
No, well, not really. No, actually, and I never did. Although that was one of the things that was sort of talked about at one point, but I never did. In fact, I've never raced anyone with McLaren. I had it for several years. I put 11,000 miles on it, and I drove it from LA to San Francisco. It was my daily driver, which is a crazy car to have as a daily driver, particularly on the 405.
So, but I understand when you got it.
Yeah.
You're driving down 280, and you wrecked it.
No, well...
And let me just tell the story that you can correct it. Because the story's great, and I know it's true.
Let's see if the story that you tell is actually, how that compares to the reality, because the reality is pretty messed up.
So, hopefully the reality's better. So you wreck the car, you get out of the car, you're doubling over with laughter. And the person with you said, why are you laughing that you just wrecked this car? And you said, no, you don't know the funny part. It wasn't insured.
Well... the punchline's correct. Yeah, so I was driving up Sand Hill Road with Peter Thiel, the co-founders of PayPal. We were actually driving to see Mike Moritz. This was in 2000. And so we're driving up Sand Hill Road. I didn't really know how to drive from McLaren. And Peter says, so what can this do? And then, like, I'm probably number one on the list of famous last words. I said, watch this. So I floored it. I floored it and did a lane change on Sand Hill. And so the McLaren has no traction control or anything. It's massive power to the wheels. So 640 brake horsepower, and it only weighs a ton. So it has massive power to weight. It can break the wheels free at 80 miles an hour. So broke the rear end free and started spinning. And I sort of, let's see, I think it was sort of, I was going straight and then turned, and I remember seeing the cars coming towards me while I was going backwards. And then we hit an embankment, sort of a 45-degree embankment on Sand Hill, which tossed the car into the air like a discus. And it kept rotating with about 3 foot of air clearance, according to witnesses. And then slammed down on the ground, going the original direction. And we blew the suspension out, now, it didn't actually wreck the car. The core chassis and the engine were okay.
Thank God.
But all the glass and the wheels and everything was shredded, and there was massive body damage in the front and rear. Yeah.
And did you start laughing?
I don't recall laughing. I mean, I could have been laughing in shock, but I don't recall laughing. And then Peter hitched a ride to Mike. I waited while the fire truck and the ambulance, and finally
Did Peter Thiel literally hitch a ride?
Over to Sequoia and then I once the car was taken care of, then I hitched a ride too, and so then we continued the meeting.
I'm picturing you and Peter Thiel, like that scene in Tommy Boy, where like the dude, and you're both like, ah, like.
Yeah, really.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Is there a parallel?
Lucky to be alive, really.
I should say so.
Yeah.
Is there a parallel with how you build companies in that story?
I hope not.
Let's see what this thing can do.
Yeah, watch this. That could be awkward with a rocket launch. It's one thing if you've got a 1-ton car versus £1 million of TNT equivalent.
That is a little dicier.
Yeah.
Now, what I think is one of the things I find so interesting about you, the rest of the PayPal guys, they get done with PayPal, they starting and investing in Web 2.0 companies at a point in time when everyone said, that's insane. That's insane. The internet will never come back. They were considered the crazy ones. Meanwhile, you moved to LA and start working on Solar City, SpaceX, Tesla's a glint in your eye.
Yeah.
Will you ever do an internet company again? Do you find the internet boring?
I think it's unlikely that I'll do an internet company again, because, not that I find the internet boring. I mean, I'm still I think I'm relatively sort of net savvy and interested in the internet and what's going on. I don't ever want to be the like grandpa who doesn't do email or something like that, I think, but I think I'm trying to allocate my efforts to that which I think would most affect the future of humanity in a positive way. And I think there's lots of entrepreneurial energy and financing headed towards the internet, whereas in certain sectors like automotive and solar and space, you don't see new entrants. There's not a lot of capital going to startups, and not a lot of entrepreneurs going into those arenas. And the problem is that in the absence of some new entrants into an industry, you don't have that force for innovation. It's really new entrants that drive innovation more than anything. That's why I have devoted my efforts to those industries. and there are industries that require, as I said, quite a bit of capital to get going. Even with SpaceX, I invest. My proceeds from PayPal after tax were about $180 million. 100 of that went into SpaceX, 70 into Tesla, and 10 into SolarCity. And I literally had to borrow money for rent. That was
that
a close
the
call.
Plan? Or...
No, that was not the plan.
So what was the plan? You thought, oh, let's put 10 in each of these, or?
Well, actually, I thought for SpaceX, I thought it would be about. Well, I guess I was probably about double. I think it ended up being double in most cases. So with SpaceX, I thought it would be 50. With Tesla, I thought it'd be putting in 25, maybe 30. With SolarCity, SolarCity actually went really well. And that's the one where I wasn't a co-founder, so to me that's a good sign. I should co-found less stuff. So that's.
So why did you put more money in the other two? What did investors flake? Did you have?
Well, I didn't actually seek investor funding for the first 3 rounds of SpaceX because the first thing that investors want to ask you is sort of, well, tell us about prior successes in this field, and what can we compare this to? And there's when you've got kind of the donut in the success category and a lot of a cemetery full of failures, then they're not that keen. And rockets are just pretty far out of the comfort zone of most venture capitalists. Now, we were able to get venture funding after we've made some progress and demonstrated that we were able to almost get to orbit. Credit goes to sort of to Founders Fund, and which is obviously some of my compatriots from PayPal, Peter Thiel and Luke Nosek and Ken Hari and the other guys. So. And they invested before we got to orbit, so credit to them for that. But I did have to show that I could actually make stuff. Like I never actually made physical stuff before, before SpaceX. So let alone rockets.
So you started with a rocket.
Yeah, that's a hard one, and it's the probability of success was low. In fact, when I started SpaceX, I thought that the most likely outcome was failure. And I think to have any other expectation would have been irrational. So
why did you want to do it? I know for Tesla it seems more obvious, like, oh, save the planet, big automakers aren't doing this. I think it's sort of fairly obvious what's good for humanity. Why did you feel like SpaceX needed to be done?
Well, I guess if you look at the trajectory of space technology and progress, the pinnacle of that progress was around maybe 1969, 1970, with the moon missions. And so we made incredible progress in the 60s, and then we were able to land on the moon. And then with the space shuttle, we could only get people to low Earth orbit. Now the space shuttle is retired, and that's just there's no trajectory of improvement. It's a trajectory to nothing. So. And I kept thinking that there would be some plan to send people to Mars because that's the obvious next step. And the actual origin of SpaceX is when I was, I think it was around 2001 or so, and I was visiting a friend of mine, Adair Ressi, who actually you may have met, but he lives in Palo Alto now. We were college housemates, and he asked me what I was going to do after PayPal, and I said, well, I've always been interested in space. But I didn't think there was anything I could do in space as an individual. So my initial plan in space was actually to do a small mission to Mars with a greenhouse, essentially seasoned dehydrated nutrient gel in a little greenhouse that would land, and you'd hydrate the gel, and then you'd grow the plants, and you'd have this great shot of green plants on a red background, and that would be the money shot, essentially. And the people tend to respond to precedents and superlatives, and this would be the furthest that life's ever traveled, the first life on Mars, as far as we know. And that would get people excited. And I thought, well, that would result in an increased NASA budget, and then we could send people to Mars, because that's, I think you want to have a future where you're expecting things to be better, not one where you're expecting things to be worse. NASA budget, fun to prep shot of green Mars with space, you may have.
Wow. Yo, it's crazy how he started out with the propaganda. We got to get the money shot first. Get the propaganda. They have to see it, and then they can believe it. Yeah. That's crazy. But that's how smart people think, though.
But he lives in Palo Alto now. We were college housemates, and he asked me what I was going to do after PayPal, and I said, well, I've always been interested in space, but I didn't think there was anything I could do in space as an individual. So my initial plan in space was actually to do a small mission to Mars with a greenhouse, essentially seasoned dehydrated nutrient gel in a little greenhouse that would land, and you'd hydrate the gel, and then you'd grow the plants, and you'd have this great shot of green plants in a red background, and that would be the money shot, essentially. And the people tend to respond to precedents and superlatives, and this would be the furthest that life's ever traveled, the first life on Mars, as far as we know. And that would get people excited. And I thought, well, that would result in an increased NASA budget, and then we could send people to Mars, because that's, I think you want to have a future where you're expecting things to be better, not one where you're expecting things to be worse. Mm-hmm. So that was how things started out. And then as I learned more, and I went to, speaking of crazy things, went to Russia 3 times to negotiate a deal to buy a couple of the largest ICBMs in the Russian fleet. A strange experience.
How do you even get into that negotiation?
Well, you talk to people who know people, and pretty soon you're talking to the Russian rocket forces, and they. It turns out Russia's quite a capitalist society, but it definitely had some weird meetings in places that I swear they looked like a sanitarium or something. I don't know. It was very odd.
We keep coming back to the theme of crazy.
Yeah. Seriously, this place had padded walls. You're like, why do you have padded walls?
So they don't hit a gunshot, so we have to shoot your ass.
And yeah, and then I had some sort of Russian guy who was missing a front tooth started yelling at me. And because one of his front teeth was missing, he was like spit flying at me in a place with padded walls. I'm like, this is really bizarre.
My life.
Right.
And that was the moment when you thought, I'm going to build my own rocket.
Yeah. That was probably, when I got back from that third trip, I was like, I realized that the real issue, the reason we haven't advanced in space is because the cost of space transportation has become unaffordable. It's become more and more expensive to do less and less in space. Mm-hmm. And we really need to improve the technology of space transportation. So that's why I started SpaceX. Mm-hmm. But it may seem odd that I would start SpaceX with expectation of failure, but bear in mind that my initial thing was to do essentially a philanthropic mission with a 0% chance of success from a financial standpoint. So it would have effectively been a donation to the cause. Mm-hmm. And so anything better than that is a win.
Right, right. So, I know people think of you as someone who's had a lot of success, but you had several failures within SpaceX before the recent launch. Can you tell us a little bit about what it's like to put that much work into something and be doing something that really no one else is doing?
Yeah.
And at least trying something and putting that much of your own money in it, that you're having to borrow money from friends to pay your rent, and there are launches and it's failing.
Yeah, it super sucks. I tell you. That was 2008 in particular was awful because we had the third launch failure in a row of our Falcon 1 vehicle at SpaceX, and the Tesla financing round that we were raising fell apart because the economy was going to tailspin, and it's pretty hard to raise money for a startup car company, late 2008 when GM and Chrysler are busy going bankrupt. Mm-hmm. That was tough, and then SolarCity had to deal with Morgan Stanley, and Morgan Stanley had to renege on the deal because they themselves were running out of money. So it looked like all 3 companies were going to die, mm-hmm. and I was also going through a divorce. So that was definitely a low point. And but fortunately, the fourth launch worked, and then.
Did you think the third launch was going to work? Was it a shock that it didn't?
Well, I thought it would most. I thought the odds of it working were better than 50%. But yeah, there was just a little change in the thrust transient of the first stage engine that resulted in that we couldn't see it on the ground because of the thrust transient. Well, to get slightly technical for a second, the pressure decay on the thrust transient dropped below sea level pressure. So when you look at it on the test stand at sea level, you don't see it. It doesn't look like there's a thrust transient. And because we changed the architecture of the engine to one that was regeneratively cooled instead of ablatively cooled, it had this little tiny transient which caused the first stage to ram the upper stage, and the upper stage engine started inside the interstage section. Like it's like sort of firing at this engine indoors with big plasma blowback that fried the upper stage.
Wow.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting that.
So it's 2008. You're going through a divorce, which, like some, to borrow your word, douchebag bloggers are writing about to make even worse.
Right. Yes, that's true. In addition to all that stuff happening, I was getting dumped on massively in the press.
Right.
Yeah.
It looks like all three companies are going to fail. I mean, why do you keep going with all three? Like, I feel like even a lot of great entrepreneurs in that situation would have been like, I've already sunk everything I have in these companies, and I got to pick one. But you didn't. I mean, you kept doing all three. Why?
Yeah, that was a very tough call. At the end of 2008, that was probably one of the toughest calls I've had to make, because I could either reserve capital for one company or the other. I mean, fortunately, SolarCity didn't need a ton of capital, so they were okay. But between SpaceX and Tesla, it's sort of like you've got two kids, and what do? Do you spend all your money to maximize the probability of success of one, or do you try to keep both alive? Fortunately, it worked.
You also had to step back in as the CEO of Tesla.
Yeah. My goal was never to be the CEO of Tesla. From the beginning, I had an interest in electric cars that goes back 20 years to when I was in college. In fact, I used to talk to my dates about electric cars. Probably not the best strategy.
Close those dates.
No. I usually have to stop talking about that. Yeah, so I have a long-standing interest in electric cars, but since I was doing SpaceX, I knew that if I did try to start an electric car company and run it, that it would be extremely painful to run two companies. So I really tried my hardest not to be the CEO of Tesla. I mean, at any point from day one, I could have been the CEO because I had majority control of the company.
Right.
But I really tried not to. And in the end, it was at the end of 2008. I had to commit all of my reserve capital to Tesla. All that wasn't allocated to SpaceX, and so I felt I had to sort of steer the ship directly. But it was not out of it was really not fun, super not fun.
Yeah, I remember when we talked, I guess maybe the next year after that, you said, this is not at the fun level, running these two companies.
No, I mean, it's definitely gotten a lot better. With SpaceX, since we've now had 5 successful launches in a row and we're able to dock with the space station, and with Tesla, we're able to raise enough capital to get the company to be able to produce the Model S and do the IPO, and so a much stronger team, a lot of bench strength in both companies. So I can go from essentially almost every waking hour being spent on the companies to 90%, which is a big difference, actually.
Is the ambition still to find another CEO for one or the other?
Well, I expect to run both companies for the foreseeable future because I've made a commitment to people at both companies to do that. will I be running both companies forever? I think that's unlikely, but certainly for the foreseeable future, I will be.
Is there one that has your heart more than the other one?
Well, no, they both do have my heart, but I think that there may come a point, several years in the future, where the fundamental good that Tesla is trying to accomplish, which is to serve as a catalyst for the acceleration of sustainable transport, has been accomplished. In other words, that's really what Tesla, if you look at it from an historical standpoint, or what's important here in affecting the world. It's to what degree is Tesla serving as a catalyst for the advent of electric vehicles? And at some point, when say most cars being manufactured are electric, then that will have been accomplished, and or the catalytic value of Tesla will have been realized, and there'll be diminishing returns in our regard. And I think at that point, I would not need to run the company.
Can we talk a little bit about, across the companies, your experience with venture capitalists? Because it's been pretty varied, right?
Yes.
So you've had good experiences, you've had not so good experiences. Is that fair
to say?
Had
a wide range, yes.
What would you advise entrepreneurs watching this or in the audience to make sure they don't live through what you did in the bad experiences? And can you tell us about the bad experience?
Well, I think one thing that's important is if you have a choice of a lower valuation with someone you really like, or a higher valuation with someone you have a question mark about, take the lower valuation. It's better to have a higher quality venture capitalist who you think would be great to work with than to get a higher valuation with someone where there's even a question mark, really. I think that's important. It's sort of like getting married. I don't know. Well, maybe I haven't been that good at that. But 10 years okay. I mean, it's not too bad.
Did you do that wrong? Did you maximize for valuation?
I suppose in the case of the Tesla Series C, I mean, at some point I think I'll tell the full story, but
not tonight.
But not tonight.
They did wait an hour.
Right. No, I know. Well, I'll tell part of the story. So, there were multiple competing bids, but there were two competing bids. One was from Kleiner Perkins, the other one was from Vantage Point. Kleiner offered $50 million pre-money. Vantage Point offered 70. I actually said to John Doerr that if John joins the board, we'll do it at 50. But John felt that that he had too many obligations, and that there was another partner at Kleiner who really wanted the deal, and so he could not supplant that person. And I thought, well, we could do. I would be okay if John Doerr joined. I mean, there's a 40% difference. That difference is pretty significant. I thought if John would be willing to join the board, then we could do that, but not if it was somebody else. Yeah, that was probably a mistake.
And so then they did Fisker instead, which.
And that was their mistake.
Yeah.
Yes, but I hope they live past the election.
Fisker and A123 are both having a lot of issues.
Yeah.
What has Tesla done that it hasn't fallen in that bucket? Looking back, was there a crossroads where you made a right choice that has put you guys so far? I mean, you're not profitable yet, but in a different category.
Well, Tesla's a really different company to Fisker. I mean, Tesla's a hardcore technology company, and we do really serious engineering. And I think you only build value in a company if you're doing hard work to solve tough problems. That's why companies are valuable. It's why they should be valuable, and largely is why they're valuable. So and we do real manufacturing as well. I mean, the Model S coils of aluminum and plastic pelts come in, and cars come out. I mean, we do real hardcore manufacturing, quite vertically integrated, we did all the vehicle engineering, all the powertrain engineering, all the software, whereas we also of course do the styling and design of the car. We've got a great design studio. Our head of design, Franz von Holzhausen, is awesome. In the case of Fisker, it's was headed by Henrik Fisker, and he's a designer, so he's good at sort of the styling of the cars, but he thinks it's all about styling, and it's not. It's really, this is, the reason we don't have electric cars is not for lack of styling.
Right. At the time when you were getting started with Tesla, the Valley was trying to take a turn back towards science and towards saving the world. You had Kleiner Perkins, Coastal Ventures, a lot of these big firms really getting aggressive about clean tech and saying that was going to be the next internet. That has not been the case.
Right.
Why did clean tech not work for the Valley?
Well, I think the jury's out on clean tech. I think as far as Tesla and Solar City are certainly clean tech, or I'd say, I think of more like...
All right, guys. Let me get out and start running some of these errands before it get too late. I got video games and shit to play later on. Let me get my shit together. Get my adult shit out the way. Got some laundry to do. Grocery shopping. And first I'm going to drop this painting off the UPS. As a matter of fact, let me write this address down now. Oh shit, I'm dropping stuff. All right. All right, guys. Appreciate y'all chilling with me. Didn't do a lot of painting today. I did actually put some wires. So I got this piece right here is actually not varnished yet. I'll probably wait another week, and I need to get a varnish on there. But that's varnished, and that one over there is varnished. So I did put wires on them today, and wire just, dang, sometimes that light is nice, and it's not even that bright, and it's still just like, but yeah, I got some of my more recent paintings hanging up, looking all nice. And I did work on this for a little bit. Still trying to work on that
that sheet on her bed. Alright guys, I'll get with y'all later on. Peace.